Hello, everybody, and welcome to 2025's Community Awards.
Oh, my God. It's come around so soon.
Yeah, it seems like hardly any time at all. It seems like only yesterday I was swearing at my brother for not taking down the Christmas tree he put up last year. But here we are once more as our little chance to honour the members who make the OnTableTop community what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a celebration of all things hobby, be it gaming, battle reports, painting, or just being a genuinely decent chap or chapette. And that's what we're going to be going through now. So, Ben, do you want to tell people what they can expect in the next little while?
Yes. So we're going to be going through our community and our big sort of spotlight over the rest of 2025. So that, of course, was the big golden buttons, the honor badges that we give out to all these different projects. We have a big section on the website dedicated to that. And so all of the runners-up and winners have been picked from that selection, alongside a few others, of course, as well. Mm-hmm. Some special things that you'll find out at the end of the show. Ooh, mystery. But yes, we have a couple of different categories to dive into. So we have the likes of Arty apostate, which is for painting a ridiculous amount of miniatures. We have Fatang, that's cool, which was something that was utterly amazing. We have Ancient Disciple, which is for people who've created amazing historical projects. We have Cosmic Creator for sci-fi projects. Master Magos for fantasy projects. Pulp Presto for pulp projects. Who would have thought it? And then Masonic Engineer, which is for amazing pieces of terrain. And then, of course, we have our special awards that we give out every year for Neophyte of the Year, the Andy Zek Memorial Award, and, of course, the unveiling of our new Cult of Games Grandmaster. We bow down. So yes, we'll be going through, we'll be talking about a couple of runners-up for each of the categories alongside a winner for each of those. It's been judged just by me and Jerry, really. We've gone through and thought what was cool. And we
come on, we were all involved.
Oh, like, sure. Yeah, sure. 100%. Yeah. No credit.
Come on now, every year we all get some credit for this because every year we're rooting for you.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Yes. I'm helping from the sidelines, yes. So yeah, we'll go through runners-up and winners for each category. And then, of course, we'll have a little bit of a surprise thing at the end as well for everyone too, which will be good. So, yes, going to be a fun show.
It always is. And it's time to get things...
Yeah, we're going to get things started. But before that, just two wee seconds, okay?
Yeah.
It is an important time of year, but it's. I just want to take a moment just to thank, once again, all of the community members and to remind them it's okay to do stuff that you love. And I think in today's world, it's very easy to, lose that sense of the importance of having a hobby, the importance of indulging some of your time into something that you genuinely love doing, something that gives you some kind of output at the end is always good. Because we do live in a world, and I suppose I'm reaching out to some of the older hands among us as we are all, over the last 15 odd years, gradually becoming. Is to remind the younger ones, because I do see this, that their hobby these days seems to be more in tune with just wondering what other people think of them.
True.
And I think that we are now we are living in a world where everything is moving so rapidly. We have politics dominating our minds all over the place. Even politics that, let's be honest, it isn't even going to touch some of us personally, but it dominates. We have social media that is absolutely changing and rewiring the brains of our of youngsters into being more concerned with how they're viewed than how they live. And then we have artificial intelligence and all of these things, and whether for good or for bad, it doesn't particularly matter, because whatever it is going to be change. And in all of that, it's very easy to forget that we're here, we're in the moment, and it is perfectly okay, absolutely acceptable to indulge in some stuff that you love and to enjoy the results of that and to share what you love with others with the hope that it reminds them of why they love it.
Mm-hmm.
So in this chaotic time, if we could all just remember, what comes after us, we're programming that. So let's see if we can do our bit.
The more fun we have, the more fun everyone else will have in the future.
I think that's the case. I think that's the case. I miss the 90s, man.
10 years ago.
With that being said, I couldn't think of a better community on the planet than this one to undertake that and to do their bit, or small bit, just to remind some parts of the world, some people within the world, that even fun stuff matters because it's good for you and it's good for those around you.
There we go. So on that note, shall we bring in the youngest member of our little club and start with our first, the Arty apostate? Okay, Shay, how's it going?
Not too bad, not too bad. How's you?
We're full of the joys of spring, or should that be Christmas?
Nice.
It's one or the other, definitely. We have the very first of our fantastic topics to look at now, and it's a big one, big in every sense of the word, bigly big. It is the Arty apostate, somebody who's painted a ridiculous amount of figures this year, or a massive amount of miniatures, if you so prefer, Shay.
Thank you.
And this is always a tricky one anyway, because we do have some fanatical.
Yeah, I think most of our community could qualify for this.
And in fact, you may see some later on, spoilers, who could have easily slipped into this category instead.
Yes.
But we, as always, have to start with our runners-up. We have two of them. They're in no particular order. And I'm going to be starting with delightful, gentlemanly, scholarly Sir Humphrey, retired.
Yay!
Whee!
These are his projects. Some have been done this year, some are older. But when we look into them, you can see he's a bit of a historical fanatic.
I never would have noticed.
Not to say he doesn't do other bits and pieces. For example, if you go into his games and reports, you'll find things like X-Wing in there.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
So he has Broadchurch. But when you start to see the sort of stuff that he does in a relatively almost mechanical-like manner, it just gets churned out on the production line.
It really does. Yeah.
So things like his Lancastrians for the War of the Roses, Sir William Stanley, the inventor of the Stanley knife. I'm sure
someone would need to fact check that.
No, you don't need to fact check it.
Citation needed.
Yeah.
There he is. That's the knife. Don't worry about it. Sometimes he puts two blades in the knife separated by a very thin shiv of plastic so he can really cut you. But I really like not just his painting style, but the methodical nature of his historical reenactments, shall we say, where you get the whole rundown of, whoever it happens to be, whether it's War of the Roses or Ottoman Turks or whatever other sort of areas he decides to delve into now that he's no longer serving the Prime Minister. And it's just great to see. There's just a terrific wealth of stuff. did a lot of this in sort of October, November time. And at the same time, he was doing a lot of stuff for his Dark Ages in October.
This was the stuff that really ticked my boxes.
Yes.
Yep.
Especially as that kind of October period is obviously very prime for, Hastings and all that kind of thing.
That is true.
So,
Yep.
Yeah.
It was all very appropriate.
You could watch people fail on the chase when being asked questions about Hastings. As I did the other day. It was really annoying.
Did you know the answer?
Yes. How long did the Battle of Hastings last? 9 hours, 9 days, 9 weeks. It's like, I'm not only appalled, but I'm outraged at the answers you're giving. But yeah, it's just, it's one of the things, because he obviously favors large scale engagements. Even when he's doing a Napoleonic force or whatever it happens to be, he's always having to build and paint just a tremendous amount of figures across the board, whether it's
and does it very well.
Stands of 6 or 4. They just all build up over time. So
I'm always a big fan of the basing that's Humphrey does as well. I really like that, and it always fits the period really nicely.
Yeah, and commanders on round bases like they should be, because they don't do anything of worth on a battlefield.
Not to get involved.
How do you paint so nice but so many? I can't even do one of those things.
I mean,
and it changes on a regular basis.
Exactly.
I think the key is pull the figure out.
Yeah.
No, not doing that. Sounds like effort.
When you look at Sir Humphrey's stuff, it's decent. It's not spectacular. I'm sure he'd say himself it's not spectacular, but it's painted.
Yeah,
and that's key. And I think sometimes little and often is better than a massive splurge once a month where you paint for a day and then go, oh, I've not really achieved much. Whereas if you've done half an hour a day, every day, oh my God, you could have whole armies paint. Anyway,
imagine.
Our next runner-up. Next runner-up's a bit of a weird one, actually, insofar as it's actually all within one project.
Yes.
And that is rare for the Arty apostate, who generally have screeds and screeds of projects to choose from. But Gazeric has been doing Dreadball for the Spring Clean Challenge. And apart from the Tron reference, which obviously means he's going to win anyway, fights for the users. He has more or less painted the entire Dreadball season X to X. I'm not even sure what seasons they got up to in second. I want to say season 9, but who knows? They release a new team every couple of months / weeks / hours during the Kickstarter. It got very whoa. But there was 2 things. First off, he did it all.
Yeah.
And secondly, he didn't just go box art. So there was an awful lot of, where will I get inspiration for my Cipher team from? Who are hammerhead shark-looking people. And it might be a cartoon character or something from World of Warcraft with the red-skinned orcs or whatever it happens to be. And over time, he just put, say, paint to figure and painted all of the teams.
Smashed it out.
Yep, with tons of plenty in there. Did you forget something? I mean, that's particularly good, using the avatar things for the Indage. Nice makes a lot of sense. And again, just as before with Sir Humphrey, it's just consistently hammering stuff out. The fact this was all done at the start of the year for Spring Clean Challenge means nothing to us. Vienna, it's all about the ungodly amount of miniatures, and the fact they fired it out in such a comparatively short amount of time compared to the rest of us.
Yeah, very impressive.
I mean, for example, those 2 fellas there who are card holder for special events, they've never made it out of the box they came in for me. The little resin fellas. So it's nice to see what they would kind of look like if they were painted up. And just squint my eyes and imagine that some of my stuff looks like this. And, it's just a terrific set of teams. And it means regardless of what team somebody wants to play, they're all done. All available including the Matsudan sumo lizards in space.
Yeah,
Like
it's
pigs
a
and
project that fitted the brief, and did it exceptionally well at the same time, which is always good. And it means more people are going to get to play Dreadball with Gasserix. So
this is 100% true, and I'm all for that because it's an absolutely cracking game.
Yeah.
Which is
so. When's Warren finishing that Aztec
board?
Pitch? Yeah,
who knows? I think he rescaled it to something ungodly.
Yes. It's now about the size of his garage, probably.
Yeah. That neither man nor beast could actually get themselves near.
Yeah.
But we have to have a winner.
Yes.
And we've got one. And it's an absolute doozy. It really is, though.
Really is.
Yeah. So the Snoopy-loving Goram.
You gave it away with Snoopy.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And I mean, first off, can we just all appreciate the
commitment
branding,
to the bit?
Yeah.
the branding that's required.
Yep.
Up to and including things like Star Wars. I'm assuming some of these are found on Tinternet. They're not official snippery things, but who knows these days? You can't.
You never know.
You never know. But a whole host of games, systems, and scales that Goram has done this year. So we have things like the lovely dwarves.
Oh yeah,
and
that's the stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't have to pick this one, but Ben's here, so I had to pick this one. Unfortunately, the movement tray looks like it's been resized for 30 mil. But apart from that, it's really nice seeing the old plastics getting a run out, or in this case, getting to be, I suppose, slowly marched out. Do they run much?
Yep.
I don't think so.
Do they doors can run?
They're drilled, so don't worry, they can march within 8 inches of an enemy. So
that's true, which is handy when you only march 6 inches. So that's good.
You
good
made
times.
that way dirtier than it needed to be, Shay.
I don't think he did. I really don't think he did.
I think that was all you, Ben.
That's why Shay
Yep. Look at that. Oh my God. Oh Lord. Anyway, so we've got dwarves. We have Spaca Marines. This is quite a nice one because it's a little sort of salvage project.
Classic Blood Raven.
eBay find, painted in Ultra Smurf colors and redone into
proper colors.
Blood Ravens.
Yeah. It's really weird. I'm fairly sure Goram is either in my head,
yes,
or we shared some psychic link at some point in time, because I have a Battle of Skull Pass army from old Warhammer that I have started repainting, and I have a box of old classic normal old school Marines that are going to be painted as Blood Ravens.
But could it just be the zeitgeist?
It could be.
Hear me out. You know how you would often get two films that are practically the same, like Deep Impact and Armageddon, or Volcano and Dante's Inferno.
Deep Impact is way better, obviously.
And they come out at the same time, but they're not influenced by each other. They've just been influenced by
it could be that. Yeah.
The ongoing zeitgeist and the mood of things. So clearly you've both been drawing inspiration from the same places.
Yeah. The difference is Goram's actually painted
her. Yeah. You haven't, but you're absolutely just the worst.
Yeah.
This one's quite nice because it's revisiting
tiny fighting dwarves.
Revisiting the tiny dwarves using the
Casmodan. Yeah.
The new War Games Atlantic dwarves to add to a previous edition. And they have the same color scheme as the big dwarves.
They do.
Which means therefore
very good.
You can play campaign games.
Yeah,
Safe
oh my God.
That your dwarves are. Maybe these dwarves are just far away.
They could be.
Oh, Graham,
they're the ones that we didn't give the drilled skill to.
Yeah.
So you put a rake of these behind them at the back of the table.
Oh, wow.
There we get all the perspective of the watching towards us. The entire horde of orcs all coming.
And with a John Hodgson background, that would look amazing. God.
There you go.
Get on it, Goram.
We'll wait. Actually, we won't wait. 'Cause we'll be waiting a while. But yeah, it's just great. Some projects are started, dipped into, and then dipped out of.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not I'm going to do this project for 2 months, complete it, move on. It's like, I fancy doing this.
There's always something on the go. Yeah.
Fancy doing a touch of Star Wars Crisis Protocol or whatever it happens to be. And, maybe the Star Wars Crisis Protocol stuff will get clayed and primed, and then go like, I'm not feeling the Star Wars right now. I shall shelve that temporarily and go and do some more dwarves. Or maybe it's some absolutely batshit insane Black
Dwarf Jedis
stuff. Dwarf Jedi would be batshit as well. I mean, it's not beyond the realms of possibility.
I was a big fan of one of Gorham's projects from earlier in the year, which was simply just cleaning. It was sorting and organizing and putting things in boxes, and that was great.
Oh, I need to do that.
It made me think about my shelves behind me, and I did a massive change up of things, put things in boxes, magnetize all sorts of bits and bobs. So, yeah.
I mean, these figures have gone theoretically backwards from almost painted but chipped buggery to cleaned and primed and ready to enter the fray once more. So, it's one of those things. We also have the bigotry pet pictures, which is always good for internet points.
Yeah. It's a perfect assistant as well. So, yeah.
Me when I wake up in the morning need to stretch.
That's it's a 6x4 gaming table. That's a massive cat.
That's a big cat, yeah.
What we don't know is that Shay's, that's more accurate to Shay than he realizes. He has to be shaved every morning.
Yes.
I keep telling him we'll wax him, but he says he doesn't like it. But yeah,
don't put that near me.
It's just been great seeing what Gorham's been working on.
It really has been great.
And even, like I say, even if the projects are just a dip in, dip out, it shows you something new. There's a little bit of flavour about something, whether it's a bit of Dread or a touch of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtle stuff.
How could you forget about that? That was like one of the
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Heroes in a Half Shell.
Turtle Power.
Exactly. And I mean, they were absolutely corking. I think after we see this, everybody and their dog was going, where did they come from?
I think they destroyed Brother Vinny's website.
And there was a sudden flourish. There is the best miniature of all. Casey Jones.
Smashing people around with his hockey stick. So.
He was absolutely, he was great in the comic, fantastic in the cartoon, and Elias Koteas played him in the movie. He was great in that as well.
Yeah.
There we go.
Absolutely fantastic. But yeah, so that is our Arty Apostate.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Gorham, good on you. We'll accept money in lieu of thanks.
You wish.
No, I do. This is very true. Right, Benjamino.
Yes.
What is the next category?
So, we move away from a ridiculous amount of miniatures to something in many different forms that blew us away, took our breath away, because this is Fatang. That's cool. Which is exactly what you'd say to Cthulhu before he ate you. So yes, we have...
Or a knight who says knee.
Or a knight who says knee. Fatang! That's cool. So as always, we have 2 runners-up in no particular order alongside a glorious, glorious winner, who's clearly the bestest. But, everyone's a winner, kind of. So yes, we start off with a regular of the site, over the past couple of years, who does amazing bits and bobs. And this is Scarhand Painting, who always puts together something a little bit weird. Now, a commission painter and stuff like that, who does all sorts of different things. But this one took the biscuit.
Glorious.
This one took the hopping frog or whatever they have on the train from Harry Potter. Who knows? It's all crap anyway. So while everyone was building models and all sorts of different things for Trench Crusade and all that jazz, Scarhand Painting was turning their attention to something a little bit different. And this was the creation of an armored train for Trench Crusade, but not any armored train. The Isle of Sodor has had it hard.
Sodor's gone wrong.
I don't think the Isle of Sodor exists anymore.
Somebody check on the Fat Controller, please.
Yeah. Oh my God, that'd be amazing to see. Anyway, this is St. Thomas, the armored train. So this was designed as a heavily modified armored train for frontline bullet delivery. It was 47 inches long, a beast that is going to be included on a Trench Crusade gaming board. And oh my days.
It's beautiful.
It was beautiful. Yes, I think beautiful is the right way to go. It is an amazing amalgamation of little bits and pieces that have all been put together. It's a lot of kit bashing alongside 3D printed parts and all sorts of bits and pieces like that. But as you can see, as you saw some of the work in progress bits, it's all been sort of like smushed together and lovingly created into this terrifying amalgamation of locomotive insanity. I think anybody would be proud to have this on their Trench Crusade board. And what's the best thing about this is that inherently when you're looking at this, you don't notice that there's anything overly weird about it. You're just like, oh, it's just a big train with bullets and things. And then you see the front.
It's Trench Crusade.
With its crown of shells.
And then you see Thomas's terrifying face where they've stitched together his mouth, but he can't talk, and he just has to drag bullets back and forth every day, all through the night.
My mouth is gone, but I must scream.
It helps that it's a great concept, but also a wonderful paint scheme as well. And I really like all the work that's gone into weathering it up and all that kind of stuff as well.
I mean,
and it's got all those nice little sort of Trench Crusade touches, like
crosses,
altars and shrines, crosses.
A lot of crosses made from apparently track all the way along it,
which makes sense. Yeah, I feel like we need like an entirely themed warband for Trench Crusade now, based around Sodor and St. Thomas, I think. So
I wouldn't even limit myself to just Thomas the tank engine. I would just go any stop motion animation.
Yes.
So imagine you had Camberwick Green.
Oh my God.
Pew Pew, Barney McGrew, Cuthbert Drum. But all Trench Crusaded.
That would be amazing.
And Windy Miller.
Yeah. But yeah, an absolutely fantastic project there that I think you'll agree took your breath away as it took ours. But not all of that breath. Because that was but a runner-up. We move on next from the world of the weird to the world of historicals. So our world, obviously. And we have a look at the work of Hobbybrush, who was working their way through a Napoleonic board game turned into a miniatures game. Like a travel version. Oh my God. So, by their own admission, Waterloo 1815 is the best game ever made, according to them. Citation needed.
Fair enough.
And so what they wanted to do is, because they enjoyed the game so much and they enjoyed the kind of mechanics of it and all that kind of thing, they wanted to take this little tiny gem of a game and level it up to that next stage. And so they went through turning everything from that game into an actual miniatures game that you could take around with you, I guess, from different places. So not only were all of the chits and things replaced with little tiny stands of miniatures, but all of the buildings were replaced. So you had all of the different like farms and houses and all that kind of thing. All of the little name tags for all the various units and the commanders were all there, which could then be added around the bottom of the board, and the different cards. You then had the game board itself was also built up too. So that was carved to replicate the map from the board game at the same time. So it all matches in a sort of topography sense, which I think is really great. And so everything has been built together into a glorious little collection of stuff to kind of really celebrate Waterloo 1815. And I also like that it even went to the next level. Wow, Jerry, it's like you can read my mind. Wow. This was all then turned into a little boxed product, as you can see there, that can be carted around. Now, a little bit big maybe for a travel game, but I'd love to see someone break that out on a train. That'd be amazing.
Probably fit one of the tables, wouldn't it?
But
Why are they taking up 2 table seats? Oh, I see.
Don't worry.
everything fits in there. All of the gubbins, everything that you need to start playing the game, which is great. And so it's all been put together to be this glorious representation of one of their favorite games, if not the best game ever created, of course, by Hobby Brushes standards, and then replicated on the tabletop, as you can see here. It's a really nice little labor of love and a nice sort of alternative style project, I think. A lot of people will either go down the board game route or the miniatures game route, but taking one and turning it into the other, I think is a really nice touch. And it helps that all the miniatures were painted up really nicely as well, I think, too. And it's also one of those things where it's a nice little self-contained project as well, because you're only working to a certain level. And once you've done that, it's all ready to go, which is always helpful. So, yeah, glorious project there.
Very nice.
Hobby Brush. Yes.
I mean, it's one of the things you would hope that you would see at a convention.
Yes, I would love to see that.
Playing this,
Yeah.
It's not just a miniatures version of Waterloo. It is just a board game that's been 3D'd.
Yeah,
Invinculated in 3D'd.
Yeah.
So it's definitely an eye catcher.
Yeah,
very much so. Yeah.
But yes, so those were our 2 runners up. But we do have a winner, and this one goes to a member of the community who's relatively new to us in the grand scheme of things, I think, but has been doing something a little bit different. So we do have some members of a community who work on game design and all that kind of thing, but Wonky Goblin is doing everything. So
the theme tune,
sing the theme tune, do everything. So Wonky Goblin is our winner for Fatang. That's cool, because they've even got a golden button, because they are making their own war game. And when we say they're doing everything, they literally are doing absolutely every element of game design. So they are coming up with the miniatures. They're sculpting them themselves. We even have some of them. I think Jerry has some probably on his desk, I would imagine.
They're not on my desk, but they are close by.
He's also doing the artwork. He is writing the rules. He is going through playtesting. He is going to be taking this to conventions. He's literally doing absolutely everything that you could do when it comes to designing a game. And we thought that was just a little bit special. Now, Wonky Goblin has been on the site in 2 guises, so you may have seen some of the other projects that they've done where they showed off the sculpting of the various miniatures and all that kind of thing. But this newest project that you can see here has gone to the nth degree to do all the other bits and bobs that go into game design. This is the bit that I always fail at. I will come up with ideas and then I will say, this seems like a good game. And then my friends will say, but what about the maths? And I'll be like, oh, well, game goes in the cupboard now. And so, Wonky Goblin has gone in and looked at the
most. I mean,
every single time it always gets to him.
Just saying, if this was a life support, the D20 is dead. Anyway.
But yeah, so Wonky Goblin has gone in and worked out how they're going to be doing activations in the game, been looking at getting feedback from the community as well. So I know that Limburg has been involved, sort of giving some hints and tips as to what kind of things they could do. It's going to be like a card activation style system as well.
Nice.
And everything's going to be slowly coming together over the course of hopefully the next year or so, until mayhaps we see Wonky Goblin turning up at UKGE with this to show off.
Oh, yes, please.
Really, really fun. But yeah, it's definitely worth going to have a look at this, because I want people to get behind Wonky Goblin and help with their creation of this game, because it's, as I say, doing absolutely everything. Sculpting the miniatures, painting the miniatures, coming up with the rules, realizing the rules don't work, making new rules.
It's the best way.
And then bringing it all together to create a really fun little system. And it's all about goblins, so how could you not be excited?
Exactly.
So there's been a real sort of like push towards green skin based games of late.
Rocking a revolver and a shroom.
Yeah,
or the world's smallest umbrella.
Yeah.
It's all Goblin needs.
It's the fact that they've made those miniatures as well. And they actually came out really nicely.
If you want to see more
Yeah.
of Wonky Goblin, he has a Twitch channel where he streams almost daily as he's doing his sculpting on the grounds. By streaming, it forces him to sculpt and not just sit and doom scroll through social media. So you can join him there.
Yeah.
Often there's very few people about because it's ad hoc random hours. So he just does it to make sure he does work. But he's always happy to see people come in and have a chat and ask him questions about what he's doing and tell him he's wrong about things, whatever. Whatever works.
Yes. I think that's a worthy winner for Fatang. That's cool. And all the best, Wonky Goblin, for the future with that project. But yes, as well, obviously, congratulations to Scarhand and Hobbybrush for coming in there as runners-up. Well-deserving projects as well.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's all terrific stuff.
It is.
Just very quickly show the kids at home this.
Yes, the miniatures.
These are the miniatures. So, just in case you're wondering what he has been doing when he sits in streams, he's been doing a whole bunch of proper old school.
And look how well painted they are.
Yeah. Stop being so talented.
So yes, if you have the touch of the goblin about you, check out Wonky and keep your eye on future developments from because who knows, someday you may have spores in your house yourself.
You may
and ones you don't have to get some sort of special liquid to remove. Right. Congratulations. For all our runners-up winners, we must now away with Shay and bring in John. All right, then. We have been joined by John.
Oh.
Hello.
That can mean only one thing. Tanks. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe tanks. I don't know.
Are there maybe tanks? I was brought here with maybe tanks.
Yeah, I see a thing that says historical project, so that's probably why you're here, I guess. So,
that's why my name's on the list. Gotcha.
Yeah.
We will be starting things off with the Ancient Disciple.
Oh.
Who is somebody who's created an amazing historical project.
Ooh.
And, I mean, you have a lot to play with. Obviously not prehistory. So...
Yes, that's true.
Anything that is that far back, we class as pulp, fantasy, who knows? Doesn't get to play here.
Whimsy.
Write it down.
Whimsy, yes. The whimsy genre.
Down, we don't care. Looking at you, Primal. You don't get to play. You predate writing. We have some terrific tankless projects. I know, John.
It's a trap all along.
But in deference to the fact that you are here,
yes,
we are going to be starting off with something World War I based. Our first runner-up for our Ancient Disciple is Jam Escats.
Yeah.
He of the unusual name, who has been doing some World War I naval wargaming. Now, it's an amazing little project that came together. We don't see a huge amount of 1/2400th scale gaming.
It's a mouthful.
And it does come off the back of some work being done by Ken, the Yaksha Gamer. He ran the Battle of Jutland at Salute 2 years ago, which filled a massive, massive board. And inspired by that and by the work Ken had done, Jam decided to break out his own fleets for it. And as you can see, they're all being done on a similar system. So tiny little metal boats onto a base with at the back who it is. And you get a nice layered tutorial from primed all the way through to basic
finished article. Yeah.
And done and dusted, ready for the battlefield, or in this case, the oceans. Because if they end up on a battlefield, they've taken a wrong turn somewhere.
And suddenly they're land ships.
Later.
But it is such a, I mean, obviously John's been painting up a lot of boats
Tiny
recently
boats.
for dystopian wars. So thought you would appreciate this. But I really like seeing, I mean, if you're going to get into a historic period / war game, the easiest one by country mile has got to be tiny boats, because you don't have to build any scenery. You just need a blue sheet for the table and whatever amount of boatage you happen to do. And the best thing about these, no rigging. 100% quids in. Fantastic.
But at the same time, he's still being able to show off his skill by making those bases as good as they are.
Yeah.
And making the presentation of the ships as good as possible as well.
Yeah.
Because this is sea basing done excellently well.
Mm. I also quite like the fact he found these lithographs of some of the boats in particular. So they're just a nice little addendum to the whole project.
It matches up quite nicely to the actual the water bases as well, because you see that kind of stormy sea vibe going on in what he's then created on the bases, which is nice.
Yeah, but I mean, if you are interested in World War I naval wargaming, it's definitely worth checking out. If you've never really looked at naval wargaming, it's a comprehensive overview of kind of what goes into it, and because they are so small scale and you're playing massive fleet actions, you can put two fleets together from buttons. So it's a very cost-effective way of getting into historical wargaming as well. So yeah, I just thought it was a neat little project to get things off, to wet people's whistle, so to speak. In a very real,
start off
sense.
Our voyage through historical projects.
To launch. To set sail on.
It's all good. Our second runner-up,
like the boilers,
is Civil Courage, and he has managed to get things onto dry land. And this is a really nice painting blog, because it's one of the reasons why some people do painting blogs. It's just, I've got stuff that has been languishing. I need to get my arse in gear, as he so rightly puts it, and actually get things painted for the tabletop. And this was just a small set of Celts for Infamy by the Artys, although you could use them for other things. They are on right basis.
SPQR, clearly.
So. Could play them for Specure as well. Yeah. I will say there's a sister project in the system, which is about the terrain that he's made for Same, but we're just solely looking at just getting the figures done. So a mix of Warlord and Victrix Celts, and including things like, I mean, I quite like, I'm going to call her Boadicea, because that's what her name was when I was a kid. Harshly accessorized the seas in those days.
Bodacious Boadicea.
Yeah. But just using the additional figure from the Celt Chariot box from Victrix as a warlord to lead the force is quite nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's using every part of the buffalo. It's key. If you've got a sprue full of stuff, why throw any of that into a bits box when you could be using it all? And a really nice set of figures have been put together for it.
Yeah.
I think particularly accentuated by the fact that when you look at the force as a whole, this is obviously the work in progress of basing, it's come together very nicely. And for games like Infamy or for Midgard, where you play with bases and you don't need to worry about figure removal, it shows you can do quite a lot with relatively little. What you would normally see on those bases might be closer to 20 odd figures if you were going for a full sort of rank and file look to it. But you can instead use the fact that they're either on skirmishing on bases to give the impression of a horde without having to paint a ton of stuff. And yeah, it's just a really nice little project that shows what you can do when you've got the encouragement to do it.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the amount of colour that you get here as well. It's not sort of like drab Hollywood ancients, because of course all the Celts and Gauls obviously just all wore leather, and
everybody's in brown and black leather.
Brown and black and green and all that kind of thing. Yeah. This is full on poppy colours.
Yeah.
Plenty of flesh.
Everybody must know who you are.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's good.
Stripy trousers. Yeah.
But overall, it gives that the sheer vibrancy of the Celts. And when you look at it in sort of detail, you're going, okay, well, the painting's solid. It's good. It's nice. But then the use of the basic material and the transfers on the shields, and all of a sudden, as they say, bases, faces, and shields, and you're golden. You don't need to be an award-winning painter to get a really nice course on the table if you just use, a few simple techniques and tricks to do the heavy lifting for you. And all of a sudden, people think that you've invested far more time and effort into your project than you maybe have, and don't tell them. Never
Cheats are always
It's
good.
like Scotty.
It's the best way.
Yeah. How long does it take to do this? 9 hours. No, but how long does it really take? 9 hours. But you can't work miracles if you give the truth. This is madness. Geordie LaForge, you idiot. Anyway, but yeah, two really nice examples of what you can find when you start looking into the historical. Very different indeed. But there can be only one winner.
Oh.
And by Grabthar's hammer. What a savings. That makes no sense. But our winner this year for our ancient disciple, ancient indeed, disciple indeed, possibly even higher than a disciple. It's higher than a fellow priest.
Yeah, I think he's got quite a lot of pips on his shoulder at this point. So,
yeah. A prince of projects is our Antipodean friend, Hutch, who has been working away in the Caribbean with his naughty nautical pirates.
Yeah.
As you can see, he started this at the end of December with a monumental amount of blood and plunder.
He doesn't like that model range at all. No,
certainly Bob. And since then has been building not only the boats with rigging, but a whole slew of ne'er-do-wells on board ship, and even a whole Caribbean island to fight around, which means he's also practically ready for Port Royal as well.
Pretty much, yeah.
Whether he's engaged in massive naval battles or he's getting down and dirty in the inlands and outlands of the Caribbean, he already has a ton of stuff that he can be getting on with. And this is just, it's one of those projects where it's like when you watch Peter Jackson doing Gallipoli. Did you watch the documentary about that?
Yeah.
And it is just a monumental undertaking, and you're going, okay, you're going to make this, it's a board that's bigger than any board that man could possibly have in the house without being a Perry. And a sheer volume of figures looks absolutely insane as well. And you never expect to see a gamer doing something of the equivalent.
Yeah.
And yet Hatch, God bless his little cotton socks, often does. He's done rigging as well. I would like to point out his rigging is, in many respects, worse than my rigging because he's found sheets. I wish I'd found sheets to do mine.
Is that twisted wire and stuff for the rat lines and all, isn't it?
Yeah.
His sails are excellent.
They are lovely sails.
I absolutely adore the cloth work on the sails and the flags actually as well.
I will say I'm not sure if he did those sails because I don't care. I know there's a company that sells the foam sails with those things on them.
So is he cheating there as well?
He may have picked those up as well to double cheat. But the rest of the boatery is good. However, it's where we get into this. This is what blew me away. Ignore. I was going to put my hand over that so you couldn't see it, but that
ignore the shelving full
ignore
of
the shelving
France.
with Victoriana. The sheer amount of 3D printed terrain is impressive in and of itself. The consistency of the finish across it all is even more so. These are just some work in progress shots as it slowly gets painted up from bare plastique all the way through to your rugged stonework and your delightful weathered trees, trunks and planks on the buildings. And even at this point,
Mm-hmm.
when you look at that, you're thinking, oh, that's a really nice set of terrain.
It
Well,
could
that's
be
not
finished.
even finished yet. No, he's still got work to do on it. He still has to add all the greenery and the weathering. At which point then you're starting to look at it and you're going, now it really is. Now it's got that touch of green on it. You've got that Peter Pan feel. Somewhere Dustin Hoffman should be walking around going, 47, definitely 47. I may have confused some films there. But it's, I mean, as Too Much Coffee Man said, if you're going to do something, do it to excess. And I think when you see what Hutch has done with this, from multiple boats to the huge amounts of crews,
all the crew, yeah.
plus ancillary. I mean, I don't know who that lady is on board, or is it indeed a lady? Is it a Captain Jack Sparrow stylee? I'm just going to pretend to be a woman.
I think it probably is.
It could go either way. But there's just so much involved in this, including building all of the boards. And I mean, the boards themselves, look at that cheating son of a, take it off you, actually, you're not getting it.
I think it's the holistic approach to Blood and Plunder. So it's doing everything for that, which is so impressive. So,
and the best part about projects like this is the fact that the whole is miles beyond everything that the individual is. Mm-hmm. So when you look at it all as a complete gaming table with all the figures and everything on it, it is simply spectacular.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't matter if you've skipped a step here and there in the miniature painting or anything like that. You know, it's once you have it all set up, it becomes a big display piece as well as a practical gaming table. And that's what makes this really stand out for me personally.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing that gets you excited about a war game, even if you never had any inkling to do it before. You're like,
the aspirational and the inspirational all in one.
Yeah.
You too can build
I now like pirates.
15-foot long board for doing your naval games.
Yeah.
You too should own a woodwork shop.
Yes. I mean, I think deep down we all want that.
Yeah.
But from start to finish, it is an impressive project that has lasted most of the year.
Yes.
From the initial, here's my stuff, last December, through to I've now got to build a board and then find a 15-foot cloth to put on it, to the very bitter end, I suppose, is looking at the finishing touches, be it, a metric child's weight in palm trees to festoon across every available surface, or, Kraken tentacles and a ghost pirate ship, which we didn't look at because technically not historical.
Yeah.
There's unhistoric as writing things down.
I've just realised why Australia has all that room in the middle, because they all live around the outside, and in the middle is so they can build big gaming tables. So
that makes a lot of sense
when
you put it like that.
Yeah. There's someone in Central Australia right now trying to model the entirety of World War II.
Yeah,
all of it.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. But yeah, the project is, like I say, an absolute belter from a historic point of view, including things like there are little potted history parts as well about the various things that were happening in and around the Caribbean with the forces that Hutch is intending on using, and it's well worth a visit to see. I mean, just a gorgeous gallery of what I'm going to refer to as model porn. Because when you see the final completed pieces on that big board, it really gives you not just an interesting backdrop, but an interesting play area. Because you can, in Blood and Plunder, you can get on small boats. You can debus onto land. You can do your little amphibious landings if you want. And here you can see you can go multi-levels. So if you're playing something like Port Royal, which obviously is meant to be destroyed, but I mean, the rules in the campaign system work, even if the buildings aren't absolutely shagged. And just being able to run around this would be absolutely terrific. And then you just have to watch out for Butterball rolling down the hill towards you. Pretty sure that one is right. But yeah, congrats, you well done.
Yes.
For Hutch. You are our ancient disciple for the most amazing historical project we have seen this year. Discuss.
Super cool. Yeah.
Right, Benjamin. What is our next category?
So, our next category is the Cosmic Creator. And this is for a bunch of amazing sci-fi projects. So we're going from the realistic to the far future in a galaxy far, far away, maybe. And we're starting things off with, of course, our runners-up. And the first of our runners-up is something that you wouldn't want to run into on a dark spaceship somewhere. And this is from Trojan Terps, who has been working on their, as I call them, body horror Tyranids. So they have been diving into the Combat Patrol magazines that you can get for this edition of Warhammer 40,000. And they're you can find them all over the place. And they come with loads and loads of sprues of little Tyranids for you to use to build up your armies, alongside other forces as well. But most importantly here with Trojan Terps, they didn't want to do the standard thing. They didn't want to just build the Gaunts and the Gene Stealers and the Tyranid Warriors. And that was it. That would be too boring. And so what they've done is they have gone back to some of the old artwork, but also the depths of their own imagination.
and nightmares.
And nightmares, yes. To create a fascinatingly weird and disgustingly beautiful set of Tyranids to be used in some games of 40,000 or just to show off. As you can see, lots of creepy weird things here, lots of different things kit bashed together and sort of bits boxed to create these absolutely stunning monstrosities. They have something of the Geiger about them. They're all a little
Ruxpin.
A little bit of the Teddy Ruxpin. And weirdly, things like the little strange squeak type Tyranids and the little sort of like bottom feeders with the suction tentacles and that kind of thing. That's all sort of based on classic artwork from the Tyranids from way back when as well. So it's actually got a kind of a sort of pedigree almost that's sort of been built up for these. But it's such a inventive use of the plastic kits, I think, to try something a little bit different and have a little bit of fun with it. I also like that they all look stunningly weird without any paint on them. But I like that then when the paint has been used, it's all been done in a very deliberate way to bring across that aesthetic of the Tyranids from that era. So you get almost a grayscale feel to it in the sort of way that it's all been sort of designed and built up. And it's proper grimdark. It's proper old school Warhammer in the best possible way, being very, very inventive with what's out there in the world.
Old Greg down in the corner there.
Yeah. Really some shoe. He's got lipstick on. Am I not beautiful? Love me. Like
Join my hive mind. Yes. But yes, wonderful project there. Well, I say wonderful. Disgusting project, but a great one all the same.
Grotesquely majestic.
Oh, I like that, John.
Ooh.
That's good. Yeah. That'll be on the back of the DVD box. Yeah.
5 stars, the Telegraph.
So that was one of our runners-up. Our second runner-up is Elysium 64, who has been working on another project, a little bit of a passion project as well. So Elysium does some amazing stuff that's a little bit sort of out there all the time. Like everything is kind of, it's like this game, but slightly different. And I always quite enjoy that. And this one is based on their love of the dark conspiracy RPG. And so they love this game. They used to play it way back when. And so what they thought was, and this was all part of the Spring Clean Challenge, they have loads of miniatures sat around that are gathering dust and that kind of thing. And they really like Dark Conspiracy and the weird world that it's sort of built in that has a kind of like Judge Dredgy feel to it, but with a little bit of a twist, a little bit of magic thrown in alongside things like aliens and monsters and all sorts of strange cryptid things. So it's a perfect melting pot for them to use all sorts of various miniatures in order to create their world on the tabletop. And they were like, rather than use these to represent Dark Conspiracy as a role-playing game, how about I make my own skirmish game set in the world of Dark Conspiracy? And so they have gone in and they have picked out loads and loads of their different miniatures from a variety of different creators and got so many of them painted up to be used in Dark Conspiracy on the tabletop. And I think it's such an inventive use of a collection that has maybe been gathering dust and miniatures from different games and systems and manufacturers and sort of bringing them all together to create something cohesive. Because I like that, you know, as I say, Dark Conspiracy is a bit sort of weird and it sort of draws from different ideas and genres and subgenres. And so it's a perfect sort of building block to then go in and do fun stuff. And in typical Elysium style, there is plenty of information as to who all of these different characters are, how they fit into the game, what he's going to be using them for. Lots of interesting background on sort of painting them and talking through the process of getting them ready for the tabletop as well. And I love that it's creation of a game, but starting from the viewpoint of, I need some things to inspire me miniatures wise to take that next step. And so suddenly when all of this stuff is out there, you can get an idea in your head of kind of how it's all going to work and sort of what things you need to throw in. Because if suddenly you've painted up a team of like specialist soldiers with a truck and all that kind of thing, okay, well, I need rules for the specialist soldiers and I need rules for the truck and all that kind of thing. So I like that it's a big holistic project full of interesting sort of ideas and stuff like that. And it was, as I say, a great use of old miniatures that were sitting wallowing in a collection somewhere. Always nice to see the hassle-free stuff as well. God, I love that mini.
The pristine school bus in the background is making me itchy. I need to see that weathered down. It's appeared too many times. Please hurry.
Funnily enough, I like to think that the school / area that owns that bus are really fastidious about it. And even though the rest of the world is going to hell,
this will be the cleanest thing.
This pulls up every day to take the kids to school.
Yeah.
Pristine.
Whilst they shoot a Cthulhu beast in the next door street.
Yeah.
So yes, those were both excellent, but they were just our runners up, and this just shows how hard our job was of picking these winners. But the winner by a country mile in Jerry's eyes was this one from the venerable Pigmoo, which is an amazing username. And so the winner of Cosmic Creator is Pigmoo with their Judge Dredd project. Now, once again, this was a little bit of a spring clean challenge, which is always great for seeing what people have in their collections. And a massive, massive backlog of stuff had been sat in corners, in boxes, and all sorts of different things like that. And spurred on by their wife, they decided to get lots and lots of the figures from Mongoose alongside 3D printed stuff and Warlord Games. There were 95 figures at the start of this that needed done. And lo and behold, Pigmoo has managed to get through pretty much all of them, and maybe a little bit more as well, I would say. So the reason that this comes out on top is that it is just a celebration of Judge Dredd, I think, on the tabletop. The amount of painting that's gone into this is great. The background into all of it is fantastic. I love all the sort of different colors that have been used to bring all these things to life. Because it could be very easy to go down the route of, I'm going to try and like make them look like the Dredd movie or something like that and make them a little bit darker and that kind of thing. No, Pigmoo has gone in and gone, no, these are all going to be comic book style bright colors all over the board, which I think is absolutely fantastic. And
go fatties, go.
I think by sheer virtue of the amount of things that have been painted, it's effectively like painting the entire universe and bringing it to the tabletop at the same time, which is always good to see. Massive fan of all the different. Yeah, massive fan of all the sort of unique basing that's been done for them. I love that a lot of these have been painted up to then match artwork and covers from comics and graphic novels as well, alongside what you would have seen on TV and that kind of thing. Well, not TV, movies, I suppose, and all that kind of stuff too, which is always good. And yeah, it's one of those projects where every single time you're looking through it, you're like, you know how we were talking about the sort of aspirational element of the projects in the historical section?
Yes.
You get that here as well. Before you looked at this project, you didn't want to play Judge Dredd. Now you've looked at it, you want to play Judge Dredd. Which is slightly unfortunate because Warlord kind of dropped it away again. This is at least a celebration of everything that was as part of that collection and beyond as well. So it's really nice.
Somebody's watching you. Dread to think who. It's a gorilla with a gun.
That's what happened to the librarian when he didn't give him enough bananas.
That's what happens when you mess around with too many books. Power in one place.
Yeah. The other nice thing about it as well is that this hasn't just been a case of Pigmoo painting these and then it's done. They've also been playing games with them and sort of setting up tabletops and that kind of thing. So they've got some of the Acid House terrain, which is really nice. Sort of cardboard stuff, build up some really nice tabletops, been playing around with that, setting up the games and having some fun with it. Because one of the things that they said at the beginning of the project was they like playing games where they have everything painted. And of course, that can be quite a struggle for a lot of us. And so to actually have achieved that, I think is brilliant. So it's really cool to see it all sort of on the tabletop ready to go. And
look at them. Somebody's about to get absolutely
ruffle stomped.
Yeah. Yes. It's just when they've got a recycle wagon at the back, though, when they do, it's fine.
Yeah.
Sort of green as people and all that.
But a real celebration of Judge Dredd in literally every form imaginable. And really good painting, really nice story behind it as well. So it's definitely one to dive into if you've ever had the inkling to try something Judge Dreddy. So,
poor crazy Mewtwo. I mean, it's a shame. It is a gorgeous thing of gorgeousness. And like you say, the vibrancy of the miniatures, really leaning into the comic book aesthetic, I think really sells it.
It does.
And in this day and age where I think a lot of people will just chuck in the old, I've painted it grim dark because it was fast. And yes, it is fast.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see things like the Dark Judges going, absolutely really rental on someone. Gaze into the face of fear. Gaze into the fist of dread.
It's a great panel.
It's a fantastic panel. Fortunately, I no longer fit that shirt. But yeah, just so many of them, and every one of them is absolutely corking. They just exude 2000 AD. They
really do. Yeah.
I'd love to see the whole collection.
Just on a big table. Oh my God, that'd be lovely setup. Yeah.
Big setup, big montage styling. Just to see everything done and dusted, because there's a ton of fun in there. Yeah, the Judge Dredd miniatures game. I
would imagine that Pigmoo will eventually end up diving into whatever new iteration of Judge Dredd on the tabletop exists in the future as well. So we'll have to wait and see, I guess. But
it's only a matter of time.
It's got to happen. You got to think. So
Judges, and if he's got the Judge Dredd game, he could replace the cardboard standees with these guys.
Yes, very true. Yeah,
he'd be ready to go and kick somebody's ass.
Yes, well done. Trojan Terps and Elysium, of course, as runners up. But Pigmoo, you are our winner. You are our new cosmic creator.
Fantastic. Right. Well, John, I'm sorry to say, we have to say goodbye to you.
You have to ship out.
With Justin. But hopefully you've enjoyed seeing those.
It's been great. It's lovely to see so many community members doing some amazing stuff out there. It's I need to need to get a shift on myself with a lot of things.
And next year, maybe there'll be some tanks. We can but hope. Right. Away with you. And hello, Justin. All right, we're back. We've replaced the John with the Justin, so at least we're keeping the initials the same.
Hello.
Which is
My voice went weird there. Sorry, folks.
It's the important thing in life. We have a triptych of terrific things to look at.
We do.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to be starting off with something that's very near and dear to my heart. If you could manage to weasel me away from historics, then my second favorite gaming topic / genre is fantasy. And for fantasy, we have the Master Magos. Oh, the Magos that's fit to master. You don't want to half-ass it. You don't want an apprentice Magos. They'll screw things up. We've seen this in Dragon Slayer by the Disney Corporation.
Possibly. You should never bait the master either. So
no, because if you do that, you're just going to end up in a world of hurt. Yeah. It's
no fun.
Naughty.
It is not any fun at all. And we have an absolute corker, a spectacular runner-up.
Mm-hmm.
We say this a lot, to be fair. It was really tricky to pick.
It really was.
I looked at this and I thought it was the winner. Not going to lie.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, not this time round. But there's always next year, just not with this project.
Mush, do it again.
That's not how it goes. Yeah. But our first runner-up for our Master of Fantasy is 144 Artist.
Yes.
12/12s. And this was a case of somebody trying something new, a little bit different. Mm-hmm. They're an olden. They're mature in years when it comes to the hobby, but busts are something they haven't really done. And the idea behind this was to work on something that they could enter into KublaCon. And as you can see, in the middle of November, they entered it and came back with apparently a silver or a bronze that they've sprayed silver.
They've sprayed silver.
I jest a lot. But the idea was to push themselves and go a little bit further than their standard painting style. And when you do move up into larger scales, it is a different painting style is required. You can still do your dry brush wash, blah, 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 that you would do on a 28mm figure, but it is more starkly noticeable when you do it on a bust or the like. As you can see here, we have a fantastic little Hiffling / hobbit / pointy-eared thing. It could even be, to be fair, it could even be a D&D elf, because they're all short with pointed ears. Nobody can really tell for certain. But the idea behind this was to work on a bust and just push himself into different direction. And as you can see, the bust itself, you've got a limited workspace. You're just dealing with the torso and head, and you can't rely on basing or dioramas with busts.
To save you.
To save you.
Plinth is mandatory.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we have in the past seen people like Soap Dodger cheat, but in the majority of cases, you are restricted. So you've really got to get your painting right on a bust like this. Yeah. And we get this lovely project where it goes through step by step with plenty of pictures, including Lloyd shots, to see the
weasel.
Yeah. Not at least weasel, but, can't have everything. And as they go through, it's a terrific example of how you work on a larger scale figure, culminating in, I think, a really attractive looking finished article. If I flip over to that, you can see, because you've got a smaller area but larger palette to work on, 144 has really went to town on it, from things like the reflection in the eyes of both Weasel / Foxy Stooty Stoot and our subhuman. Let's just call that. So we're not sure which flavor of subhuman it is, but things like the checkers on the jacket. Has a touch of the Bilbo about it.
It does a little bit, yeah.
Which is really nice.
Overall, in this piece, there's a sense of warmth that I just find really charming. The actual way each tone complements each other, it's as if he's just walked into an inn, he's in front of an open fire, about to order his first pint.
Yeah, it's really, really well done.
And if you cover your weasel in clay, when you crack the clay open, all the fur comes off, and that's how you know your weasel's cooked. With your open fire.
Bear Grylls has nothing on you, Jerry.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is the correct way to cook a weasel. And if anybody knows what novel that's a reference from, you win internet points. I look forward to seeing that below. But yeah, I just love what he's done. It's a really interesting thing to tackle a bust.
It is, yeah.
And you do have options in here. And I imagine if he continues doing some more work in larger scales, he'll be able to develop that a bit further. But even as it stands, it's a really, really handsome looking figure with a ton of fun in it.
Oh, it's holding a little baggie.
Oh, yeah, it's got
stolen something for him.
Yeah. You know why? Because it's not a least weasel, which is the greatest weasel. All other weasels are the worst. That is how we know it's a weasel / Foxy Stooty Stoot, which is also a reference. So it's Cuddly Wuddly Bear. So 144, congrats you, well done for being the first of our runners-up in the fantasy category. Not quite there, almost there-ish. All of these are the same. I can't even, no. I mean, they're all winners.
In my heart.
But not in reality, where you're definitely a runner-up.
They had to roll a D3 on this one.
They're so triangular. The next one, it comes from a firm favourite in the community. The man for whom the phrase "being matter beige approved" was coined, and it is Hazy Boy, who has been working through Kings of War Champions in his own ubiquitous speed paint style, as I believe the kids call it. And there's a couple of things. Hazy Boy always does this, so it's a really easy way of following a painting scheme where you can see the colours that have gone on and where they've gone on. But also, it means it's there as a reference for himself if he ever needs to go back.
It's a really good idea.
Expansions.
The thing with Kings of War Champions, though, is you don't need to go back. It is one and done. Every box is a self-contained force, and it can never be expanded on or changed. So it's the best way to start any game, because you don't have any sort of paralysis when it comes to building. You're not over-analyzing things. You're not going, oh, should I build them as spears or hand weapons and shields or whatever? You're just going, no, they have to be built like this. They have to be this size of unit. They have to go together. And therefore, I will do exactly that and move on with my life. And it's been really nice seeing Hazy Boy working on these, partly because I really like seeing just all of the completed forces, of which there are many. He has been working through pretty much all of the champions boxes, and I think he's got to the point where all of the champions are done.
Lovely.
Until they release the next set.
But then he's just working on pace.
Yeah. He's caught up.
So fair dues.
Yeah. And you get to see also how his painting style works across a range of different army types. So even though the painting style remains the same, the tone of the army changes without needing to alter how you actually get the stuff on the tabletop. Bit of a change of basing is about the height of it. As you can see here from everybody's favorite little salamander fellas.
Love the axolotl mage.
Yes. He's delightful. He's called Splish.
It's a lovely purple for the skin and stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, if you want to see what color purple is, you can just go into his project and find it writ large. I think it's a warlock purple. But even things like the change between armor and skin on the likes of the River Guard or the Naiads, it's a workman-like way of painting, which just shows what you can do with the likes of speed paints, dry brushing,
very true,
regular paints. You don't have to spend an age torturing yourself to get a complete force on the tabletop. This one I'm dropping in just because I really like the Westphalia models. It's technically not one of his, it's his friend's, but I'm just showing you anyway because I like that.
Because it's Kings of War, and of course,
it's Kings of War, and it's Westphalia Paul Hicks sculpted halflings, of which I have a ton. Mine looks slightly different in that they're still in bags in resin.
3D movement trays.
If I was to ever paint them, I imagine they would look something like that, but they won't. And I mean, things again you can see here with the Crocodog and Maura McGock, possibly. He has painted her dreads white like they should be, and not like the box art shows where somebody's painted them dark, despite the fact she specifically states that she's got white dreadlocks. So Hazy Boy has got one better than the company in that they've paid attention to what color they should be rocking. They're going to be interesting when the Zerkali arrive, because I'm pretty sure she's joining on board with them to absolutely wipe out any magic users out there. But it's a really good example of forces being painted for a purpose.
Yeah.
And if anybody joins us in our Discord channel, they will see on a semi-regular basis Hazy Boy and his friends do little sort of Friday evenings where they'll just play 3 or 4 or 5 games of Kings of War Champions.
Oh, excellent.
And you get to see sort of, you'll XVY, YVZ, ZVX. The overall champion is Basileans because they cheat. So yeah, it's just been really nice seeing the style and tone of his force coming together.
It works really well.
And just the sheer volume that they've got through.
Superb stuff.
Well, no one can be mad seeing that set down against them on a tabletop.
Very true.
No.
Obviously, unless it's Basileans.
Unless Basileans, who are, as we know, filth, absolute filth. They're like a cancer in the world of Panathor, which is why it's one of my smaller armies.
Oh dear.
I'm still going to play them. We all know that. However, we do have a winner. We do have a master. And our master is Panzer Kaput.
Oh boy.
A man for whom the term small-scale skirmish knows no bounds.
Yep.
And he went from I'm going to do a lot of historic stuff to, I might do an occasional bit of something GW-esque to, you know what, I'm pretty sure I can paint every single spearhead that exists. For his
That's
games.
a fair challenge to take on.
Well, and it's pretty much, it's done.
Yeah.
Currently, he's only done that many spearheads this year.
Only.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if there are many more beyond that.
I don't. Yeah.
However, as
bloody hell,
as a selection of spearhead / consistency therein, there is an absolute mountain of them. And similar to Hazy Boy, he has a style that leans heavily on the contrast these days. But he's able to use that painting style to paint Sigmarines or your lizard men.
They look absolutely fabulous.
Yeah.
One of the backs.
One of the great things about
favorites.
One of the great things about this, and similar to Hazy Boys as well, is it's one of those things where you just get to have so much fun working on this, because one week you're working on Stormcast Eternals, painting them all green with metal and all that kind of thing.
Yes.
Next, you're suddenly working on Caradron Overlords, painting their deep red armor covered in gold and a bloody flying airship and all sorts of things like that.
I wonder what those runes translate to. I'm curious.
Bugger off, you wee bastard.
No, I'm curious if they've put the work in there for that extra little touch of detail.
It could be up to villains. Our editor will add what it says below now.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Wait, no, that's me.
It's and it shows just
my God, that's lovely.
Diversity of the range.
It really does.
Because while I'm aware that Age of Sigmar exists and Spearhead is a thing that also exists, I've not really paid much attention to it, being the bastard child of Warhammer, where they'd just taken stuff and renamed it slightly strangely. So I was aware that there were some things, like wood elves and dwarves and the like are still in there. But when you start to see what Panzer's been working on, it is a really good reference to what you can do with them. And I'd like to point out things like the backdrop shots are quite nice from John Hodgson's book, but also the terrain that you'll see in amongst this project, which is, like I say, extensive, does show you painting up the various terrain sets that came out over the years.
Yeah, they're doing an extraordinarily good job on that as well. So
yeah. And it's just been
fabulous,
an absolute joy to see so much fantasy.
Yeah.
Now, if we just get them off those round bases onto something square, like God intended.
I was noticing one or two Hazy Boys were standing on hexes.
They're on hexes while he paints them, and then they get multi-based because Kings of War champions use multi-bases.
Fair.
So, you could use, by all means, use your round bases as painting handles, and then you can snap them off those and put them on their proper square base afterwards. It's just really good.
As someone who's a convert to Age of Sigmar and very much enjoys it, this has been a very fascinating project to see sort of develop and change over the year and stuff. And all the different models that have come together of it are all really inspiring, and it's one of those things where you see the box for the spearhead and you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then you see someone paint it really nicely and you're like, well, I could paint that. That'd be cool. That'd be neat to have a look at. The other thing I like about it is that it really reinforces the diversity of Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
Because you have a lot of stuff that is very similar in style and tone to the old world in many regards. A lot of it can be very grimdark, but then you've got lots of stuff that's been painted up in a much more poppy, bright, slightly more, I like to call it like glam metal way, glam rock way, which I think is really nice. And it also shows off the versatility of things like the contrast speed paint range as well, and sort of the way that it can be used similar to what Hazy Boy was doing across a vast array of different miniatures. I mean, the blending on the Croxigors and the Seraphon in general is just great, and it's a nice advert for how that works. And as you say, the other thing that's great about it is that it's not just a gallery project of miniatures. It's also games and background and all sorts of different things.
List building, all of that.
List building, So it's very much a celebration of Panzer Kaput's love for Age of Sigmar, Lady Oleander there.
Yeah.
Cursed by the gash. So,
beautiful work.
Ready to get absolutely wrote up by some Sigmarines.
It also means that Panzer Kaput is in a really good position so that if they ever want to play a game with somebody and they don't have an army, oh wait, I have 8.
Yeah. you have no excuse of cost or time for painting. Get down and get your game on.
Exactly.
Go down to the Leicester Fat Cats. Buy him a drink.
Yeah.
Fair.
Play a game.
Hey, that's not a bad price to rent an army for a day.
Get absolutely hammered with them. But yeah, it's a big project that he has been relentlessly filling over time.
Puts my half-painted Magmadroth to shame.
Yeah, like that. The last image, or the last first one you'll reach when you go to the project, which is just that gallery of here's a shot of every completed faction that I've done, is good. But you can go back and you can see them all being painted in depth, with plenty of shots from all angles. So if you're interested in seeing how all of this sort of comes together, you can do that. And interspersed with that, we have the little battle reports where Panzer wins games. Which is something I'm sadly not aware of in life.
Great painter and a great general, apparently.
Yeah, so, painter, player, and completionist. The rarest of gamer.
Yeah.
And a really snappy dresser. If you happen to meet him.
There you go.
As somebody was saying the other day, I think it was Ken, actually, the Yorkshire Gamer, when looking at Peter Gilder and Edward Woodward, wearing ties and suits. We should really bring that back into gaming. Panzer's been doing that for a while. You'll often find him
ahead of the curve
in a 3-piece
Perfect.
Licking the dog's balls. So
Jeez, I only pulled that out for funerals.
you are our master magos, Spencer.
Well done.
Congratulations to you.
Yeah.
Right. Next up,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to be sticking with the fantastical theme, but slightly
Pulpy.
more pulp.
Yeah, so this is our Pulp Prester category. And again, we'll have 2 runners-up and our winner chicken dinner. First of these is an old hand in our community, someone we have known for years upon years upon years, who very much like Jerry has been into his historical, but has now sort of broken away a little bit to do something a little bit pulpy with Vietnam. So we've got sort of a blend of Vietnam and, you know, some other bits, other enemies for them to fight. And starting out, Bob, as we know, historical gamer, knows how to do a great looking military uniform, military soldier style. You know, so just super clean. It's got the right camo. The weapons look great. The face looks great. And then things start to go a little bit wibble as we go further down. It's the only way to describe it. Jerry, if you like to call out some of this, well, there's the wibble. Oh, look, we have landed on this island for a completely legitimate military exercise, fully sanctioned, and there's orcs.
I mean,
we have a problem.
As anybody who's ever played any weird Vietnam knows, don't get out of the boat.
Yeah.
Never get out of
First
the boat.
mistake.
But yeah, it's a fascinating set of stuff that Bob has put together. Simply because he has a very narrative drive with his gaming whenever he's doing any of it. And, you know, and you'll often get something will give him a little tweak or push in one direction or another. I know his plans for this project is to marry up to a Stargate SG-13 team that accidentally stumbles across them. So there will be P-90s in Vietnam in the not too distant future.
Oh, I love his troll.
Yeah. Well, ogre.
Came out of a watching
Racist.
Kong Skull Island, I believe the project was in its entirety, which is quite fun. So shows what can happen when you get inspired by something. And,
but it's nice to see a player who's not scared to go, you know, I do a lot of historical. I want to do something different. Why don't I marry the historical genre up to something a bit weird and a bit wacky, and let's have a play and have some fun with it. Oh, we've got our main characters there. No helmets.
I mean, it's definitely a way to go.
Yeah.
And Bob is always very expansive in his projects as well. So they'll tend to take in the whole remit from what you need to do to get the webbing, color schemes, that sort of thing on board, to where I got my inspiration from. You know, a bag of mushrooms and Skull Island. Some sort of
Some very specialty.
Yeah. And there's the poor Vietnamese soldiers, the MVA,
stuck in the middle. Yeah.
And the VC. They're about to discover what an angry ape is all about, apparently. So yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. Seeing
T-Rex.
just a proper full-on pulp,
Very creative.
lost world setting. And look, dinosaurs, which keeps Ben happy.
I love dinosaurs.
Mechano-Nazis.
And floating Nazi brains in jars, which is all what we want to see. Where the hell did they come from?
It's always great seeing the creativity from Bob. Always works on fascinating projects that go that extra mile.
Wow!
And I'm sure Bob's gaming group is eternally grateful for what he's producing for them to play. So
100%. Moving away from Bob,
Mm-hmm.
who's our next runner-up?
Well, next in the lineup is Civil Courage, who has been working on a game which I would always say is a bit of a missed opportunity within the industry. So he's been working on some Relics Britannans. And these are cute little British colonial-style soldiers who have very unfortunately been turned into little stitch-up puppets. And the design of this game alone has always captured my imagination. Because it's so cute, yet so terrifying, because it's such a serious thing that they're all going to war, but they're literally just going to knock the stuffing out of each other. And
I mean, it is a weird, properly weird setup for it.
Really
I love it.
Yeah.
It's what happens if the Raggy Dolls kicked off.
Well, the Raggy Dolls used to be the Peoply Peoples.
Look at that.
Yeah.
For all you fans of the Mazallan trilogy or book series, you two can, see what happens when you put a warlock into a ragdoll body.
I mean, just you imagine the leaders going, "Onward, men, for the glory of the crown."
It was another one of those.
Cute.
Yeah, it was another one of those projects that came out during the Spring Clean Challenge, and it was a kind of rescuing of a forgotten collection of minis that, as you say, Justin, was very much a missed opportunity, I think. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that eventually TT Combat ended up bringing it back, so that people could get the models once again and have a go at it. So
as soon as it came out, John was in there like a whippet.
Yeah,
I remember he started a Spring Clean Challenge project.
He was going to build a box and everything.
Yeah.
So.
How's that going on, John?
I really like Civil Courage's painting on these as well. I think the way that the sack quality of the puppet has been done is really nice. Mm-hmm. Picking out all the stitching is a really good touch as well. Mm-hmm. And then going that extra mile and doing all of the extra bits and pieces you need to do to make the uniforms look particularly Britannian-esque is wonderful. So
there's just such a charm to the sculpts that have been maintained through the painting. That's what I would say. So
a good save, whilst also being fascinating to look at, and a reminder that the cute and the quirky has always been around in the wargaming world, even back then with relics. And so maybe go and dig some out for yourself and give them a go. Yeah.
Sweet like candy. Who is our winner?
Well, this one comes from Denizen and is my absolute favorite of the trio, which is Turnip 28. So if you remember earlier in the year, we will have shown some of the work off in this project whenever we showed off the big, beautiful, brutal, ridiculous bell cannon. And this is just an expansion on that into the Turnip 28, forces that they've been building, painting, and having fun with. The quirky and the weird is definitely the way to describe this one. Also, one guy on a horse. Go left, Jerry. He's playing a hurdy-gurdy.
That's the only way to play.
I have never seen that done on a miniature before.
There we go.
And I absolutely adore it.
Well, turnips don't have lungs, so they can't do a horn.
Very true.
Gotta get in there and just hand crank that.
Yeah. But gorgeous paintwork, creepy, grimy vibe to them. Well, again, like I said, really respecting the idea of what the miniature is and the theme of the world.
That's not right.
So.
It's a love that
should never have been.
Yeah.
But was anyway.
For once, I'm with both families. She's all gone warty. This there was I think the golden button for this.
This is the one I will always remember this for.
It's a really nice showcase of exactly what Turnip 28 is all about, where you're taking a lot of the 3D printed elements that exist out there on the market alongside a lot of the historical kits that people use, and then sort of blending all of that together to create some really interesting...
that turnip has an axe for a head.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, yes.
Yeah. To create some really fascinating things, as you can see there. So it's the epitome of what Turnip 28 is meant to all be about. Kit bashing, customization, and just really weird stuff. So.
Yeah, and the idea of the pulp category, having that twist on reality to play about with and have fun with. That's one of the things I love about this project and this game.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. And I like that so much of it is actually based on the art design as well. So from what Max had done in the rule books, taking that and then working out a way to make that a reality using bits and pieces, I think is a really
How
nice...
to get a Napoleonic rocket battery turnip style.
Exactly.
By the medium of things and bits and
on the
stuff.
bright side, if everybody's a carrot, they can always see in the dark. So No need for flares and rockets.
That was propaganda.
It was indeed.
Cat's eye Cunningham. But yeah, the forces he's put together as well for this.
Way more than you actually really need for a regular game of Turn 28.
I mean, I'm sure they had their Waterloo.
You've got to have options available.
You've got to, of course. Yeah.
But it's also nice that it shows the variety in sculpts. So some of the stuff has been 3D printed whole miniatures.
Yeah.
Other ones are just add-ons that have been used to convert existing Napoleonic style figures.
Mostly Perry's, probably.
Yeah, as is their want in life. And then, some are just full balls to the wall, absolute batshit insanity, which I think are probably some of my favorite ones.
Yes.
This was a well-earned win.
I mean, look at that. The Maori warriors are used to make up these little fellas.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that in and of itself is
the
idea of going, what would look good for Turn of 28 Napoleonic warfare? Maori.
Yeah.
Doing a haka, wearing a Sally helm.
Yeah.
Of course. Why would it not be?
Mm-hmm.
I double dare you to think of a reason why it shouldn't.
Makes me think twice about going down to my allotment and pulling up some of the vegetables. You never know.
Well, you wouldn't, so. Not unless you're carrying something.
Carry a big stick.
Yeah. Boring Company made a flamethrower for you, Ben. I'm sure you can get it.
But yeah, it's a superb set of figures.
It's a proper labour of love.
Yeah.
But that's the true spirit of the hobby, is we all do this because we love it. And seeing projects like this where you can really see the love and the passion that people are putting in, that's what makes this special.
Yeah.
I mean, tolerate it at best.
you just got high praise from Jerry. The mildest of indifference rather than full indifference.
Yes. And I mean, this is something we've seen a few years ago, and is a nice little touch. The using of tufts on figures. It ranks up there with using of false eyelashes. Is another good way of doing it.
That was a golden one. That was.
Yeah, it was.
That.
It goes to show you there's just a whole slew of things that you can steal from around the house to incorporate into your hobby, and then play dumb when asked what happened to X, Y, Z. I don't know what happened to any of them. They've nothing to do
Sorry,
with
me no speak of the English.
That's the one. That is the one. But yeah, cracking stuff from Denzian.
Congratulations.
And 2 full forces to
ready to go
in the turnip genre. For it is a genre these days.
It is, yeah. Sludge adjacent.
Sludge, as you say, adjacent to discuss.
Yeah.
Right. We have in final category for this section.
Yes.
While we have Justin here. Is it full of spiders?
Thankfully,
please no.
I have avoided spiders, at least for the moment. But this category is the Masonic Engineer. Do your eyes, your best eyes. The triangles, they're everywhere.
Hey, stop throwing gang signs.
And this is for a project that has created amazing pieces, I suppose you should say, of terrain for use on the tabletop. And as always, we have 2 runners-up and a winner. I'm going to be starting things off with a community member called Sparks Will Fly.
Sparks Will Free.
Sparks Will Free. Who has been working on the Darling, the brutal, bloody Darling, I guess, of the wargaming industry over the last year. That is Trench Crusade. And been getting stuck into some absolutely bloody awesome modular Trench Crusade terrain. So lots of miniatures out there for Trench Crusade now, either officially through Fortress Factory and the likes. But one of the things that a lot of people are missing is some really good terrain. And one of the nice things about trenches tend to be in lines. So they're perfect when you're trying to put together really nice modular pieces. And so that is exactly what Sparks Will Fly has done with this project. And it is made in the best way possible, in that the majority of it is all just scratch-built stuff. It is using a monumental amount of coffee stirrers and lollipop sticks and everything else you could imagine.
Grab your bits, chop them up, throw them in a box with glue, shake it about, pull it out, job done.
There we go. That's
how you scratch build.
But what's really nice about this is that Sparks has gone to that extra effort to make it so it could be very easy to just line everything up neatly and make a quick, simple set of trench walls and all that kind of thing. But taking the extra time to do things like the higgledy-piggledy bits and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, making it look chaotic.
Making it look chaotic to fit with the idea of what Trench Crusade is trying to bring to the tabletop, I think is great. The other thing that's really nice is all the incidental pieces. So this is one of the things that I really like. A lot of the Trench Crusade artwork, you will always find that there are icons or reliefs or posters that have been made up and that kind of thing.
Motivational posters.
Motivational posters, yeah. That demon will not eat you. Yeah. And having those plastered all over the inside of the trenches and on top of the big things like the massive cross and stuff, I think is a really nice touch to have in the mix for that. Also working all the little bits and pieces like sandbags, the barbed wire to show where, trenches were at one point and then they've all been built over and that kind of thing is great.
Yeah, the ground has been fought over for year upon year.
Yeah. And then all of the crosses everywhere to give that iconography to literally everything in this, I think is just stunning. And it really helps to build up the theme of what Sparks Will Fly has been building with this. And it also is kind of like have those been placed there for protection purposes? Are they where someone's died at some point, or maybe it's a bit middle of a mix of both? I mean, that's obviously a little bit of a graveyard there, I would imagine. But great banners on there, again, using the stuff that we've seen from the prints and stuff like that. But it's a really characterful set of terrain that fits into the vibe of the world. And on top of that is also modular. So rather than this being built into one large 3x3, 4x4 board, and then that's it, this can all be mixed and matched and changed around to represent different parts of the battlefield. And it gives the terrain a little bit more of a modularity, a multi-use for future games.
That and for containment, it makes it a bit more manageable rather than putting away a big, chunky 4x4 with tons of stuff on it. Yeah. Lots of little bits like this you can lay out and put on a shelf somewhere. Way better.
Yeah. Is that a ram? Head, leg, leg.
Could be.
Horn.
Or it could be a doggy.
Accidental ram. Yeah.
Puppy.
But it's also one of those things where I like that there's an added element of verticality to it as well. So you have that big rise from the base of the trench through up to the top, and then you have the big watchtower as well built out at the top of the cross. And things.
But even within the individual trenches, the fact it's not one level.
Yes,
you have little
bits that clamber up and things. Yeah.
It has a lived-in feel where it's been cobbled together over time. It's not just we are carving a trench and now we're done. It's like, oh well,
all fits the vibe really well.
This bit's falling apart. Let's reinforce that and shore it up and move on with our lives, and things have sort of developed over time as well.
Yeah,
it's a lovely set of terrain.
It's really nice. Really nice. But just a runner-up. I say just a runner-up, an amazing runner-up. Next to that, we also have a familiar face from the community who has been working away on something. And this runner-up was not chosen simply because of the nature of the game and the words in the description.
Nature.
But
Recon.
We have Caesar, who earlier in the year was working away on some really weird burrows and badgers.
Is that honey or is that puke?
I'm going to say honey. No, it's honey. He's been in the pot.
But what if he had too much honey?
That's true. Yeah. Can you have too much honey?
It'd be impressive if he managed to puke on top of his own nose.
Now, what's really nice about Caesar's work is that they are never, ever normal, if you know what I mean. They never go down the route of, a nice little Hobbit hole style-esque thing and maybe a couple of buildings and some trees. Everything that Caesar works on, especially for this particular project, is just a little bit out there. You can see where their role-playing game came from, basically.
Yes. Doomsong by now.
Maggots.
Yes.
Late pledges available.
Yeah. And so with this, you've got this glorious collection of just odd, random pieces of maybe 3D printed bits and bobs, plastic terrain. So some of those are the old Citadel trees that have been cannibalized for this new project, scratch built stuff and all sorts of different things like that, all brought together and then painted up in this really fascinatingly different way. You get a lot of stuff that's been done for Burrows and Badgers, which is very clean, I guess. But I really like that with what Caesar did with this, you have that overgrown wilderness feel to this. A little bit more in keeping with kind of like the whimsy side of things, which I think the folks, especially Caesar, are quite interested in. That kind of whimsical weirdness, almost labyrinth-esque, which was very fitting as well, I imagine. Well,
clearly, this is a more villainous area because they don't have the upkeep or the maintenance.
Well, yeah, exactly, yeah. Somewhere on the border.
We're evil. Why do we need a housekeeper?
Yeah. But it's also the fact that all of the terrain that you see here is just full of character. Like, you know, I like that even things like the fences are covered in moss and lichen and stuff like that. So they look like they've been sat there for a really long time, and you start to think, why is that like that? What's the story behind that? What is going on with that tower? Was it like somewhere that a wizard used to live or something? Or, you know, you start to get stories generating in your mind based on all the bits and pieces. Someone's using that to store their loot, clearly, at the moment. So, you know.
I like the ridiculous amount of goblin shields.
Yes. Stolen from the old Warhammer sets. Those,
I do love the fact that sort of the mossiness and the overgrownness sort of becomes like a glue to bind and blend all the different brands of terrain together into a cohesive set. Yeah, it's a really nice technique. Yeah. And there they are clean. Wow, that is so different.
Yeah. But it just goes to show how much effort has gone into these and sort of the creative process that's brought those to life. And, you know, you will have seen some pictures of the models running around on the tabletop and that kind of thing. It's definitely fueled their love of the game and them playing through it with their different warbands and that kind of stuff as well. So it's can't have a game of whimsical English folklore with animals without bees, I suppose. So yeah, it's a phenomenal project filled with lots of quirky and weird and interesting terrain. So yeah, well deserving of a runner-up spot, I would say.
Gratty, well done. So,
Incredible.
Yes, the fairs has been moved. We'll see to who. Yes. However, Sparks Will Fly and Caesar were just runners-up, for we have a winner. And much like with an earlier winner, I think Jerry went out on this one. Although we did agree, I guess.
Yeah, I think Jerry may have turned to you and said, I will murder on this hill.
Yeah. And so this...
It's rare that I threaten to cut people.
The Masonic engineer, the creator of an amazing piece of terrain that wins this particular spot is Shinantai. Congrats, well done. With their amazing old hammer orc terrain. So you will remember back in the mists of time.
You will.
When orc terrain wasn't all just ramshackle buildings built out of vehicles.
True.
In actual fact, they lived in lovely... They all used to live in adobe houses.
Bricks.
They used to make mud bricks, and they would paint pretty patterns on the top of their houses.
Dags. Do you like dags?
Yeah. And so this has been built in that style by Shinantai in order to create an amazing looking old hammer table for classic versions of Warhammer 40,000, or of course the modern day. Who has to say that it has to all be grimdark?
It's true. Yeah.
So yes. Yeah. And what's nice about these is that they're not just, like a 3D printed kit or anything like that.
Oh, no.
All of these have been scratch built from the bottom up, including the hills.
It's the most ridiculous hills I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people would just carve a hill out of foam. Yeah. But Shinantai has decided to build this out of slices of cardboard.
He did
and
say
wood.
It did say it would have been made out of foam if he'd had any.
Well, there you go.
I didn't. I therefore had to make what I'm going to put out there is the most robust hills. You will not have to worry about warping with these hills.
Very much
ever.
so. Yeah.
Life finds a way.
Yeah.
They are a brick.
They really are going to be. And I think what's really they look and feel just like the old hills, some of which I still have in the shed. And when they get covered in the flock, as you can see, that sort of lovely bright green neon flock, suddenly they take on another level. But I think the real star of the show, of the project, is very much the buildings. They all look really beautiful. I like all the work on the rendering on the outside. Adding those little sort of corner capstones and things to it really kind of lend to that element of the old look of those buildings. Yeah. And then not just doing the outsides, but also fully detailing the interiors as well. Especially with like the little tiny things like the dirt tracks where the vehicles have come in and come out. Really, really cool. The little stains here and there. The little workshop with all the tools for the mechanics and the grots and the Gretchens and things. Those are dwarven hammers. How dare you?
It's all right. There are no dwarves left to use them in 40k anymore. They were all
been
killed
eaten by the Tyranids.
I will say, I look at these buildings and I go, I wish that was a kit on the market that I could just go out and buy to have this, because it looks so good. It has that want factor to it when you see them.
It really does.
But I like it because you can just do it at home.
You could follow Shin and Tai's. Yeah. So yeah.
You know, you don't have to. If I get down to it, the majority of all of them are foam core, plastic, and plastic I'm going to say 5 or 6 mil MDF.
Yeah.
Foam core, and then plastic card for the detailing, and it shows what terrain building was.
Yeah.
When I was a lad, there weren't any buildings to build or to buy. You were making your own, or you were playing on nothing. Those were your choices. And I just really like somebody embracing that. I can't remember if he won back in the
he got a golden
fest.
I don't think he did.
No.
We have definitely talked about it before.
I think
he got a golden button.
And he got a golden button. He was run up for Terrain Fest potentially. But this just shows just what you can do.
Yeah.
And look, if you've got, for example, a load of plastic sprues of bolt action ruined farmhouses.
Oh, wait, that's me.
You too could be doing this.
Yeah.
And even things like, and I mentioned this when we looked at it, the steps and the surrounds around the top of the buildings are the Great Escape Games duck boards from
just repurposed.
Dead Man's Hand, just turned into sort of steps or just additional detailing.
Yeah.
It's exemplifies what you can do yourself without having to piss a ton of money up the wall. If you can make a box out of cardboard, you can make a box out of foam core, and therefore you can make buildings. All it takes is for you to sit down with a ruler and a pencil and work it out.
And away you go.
And then go scrounging through your bits box.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to go the whole hog, you can start putting bends into I-beams and stuff as well. But that's why you've got steel protractors.
Yeah.
That's why I've got a steel protractor, so I can do that.
I'm sort of hoping that Shin and Tai will return and do like another set of old Hammer stuff for another faction. I think it'd be really fun, but we'll wait and see, I suppose. But
I mean,
which one do you want to see him do, though?
I'd like to see some Imperial stuff to go up against it, although something a bit quirky in Eldar would be quite nice, I think. But
If I had a vote and I could make him do something, I would like to see him make the Battle of the Farm from Rogue Trader.
Yes.
The specific scenery from that, which contains a bunch of ruined buildings and some walls and bits and pieces, because you can't get the Fugu one anymore. If I could get anything, well, it's all right, I've got it. But but if I could see him redo something classic, like that, that or things like, do you remember the Imperial bunkers that were all scratch built, looking very blue grey with big archways and stuff on them, that sort of thing. Go back to the 90s. Everything was better 10 years ago in the 90s. Just go nuts. It's all so good.
It really is.
Look at his render.
How you do the stucco.
Yeah.
It's
a phenomenal project. And again, does that same thing as we talked about with previous ones in the show, in that it is a labor of love and a real showcase of nostalgia, but turned up to 11 with modern ideas and things like that. So, yeah. Great.
$10 worth of plastic card, $5 worth of foam core, and go buck nuts.
And just having the diligence to sit down and do it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, it's absolutely cracking. And his painting, we haven't really talked about his painting.
Well, the painting is also great.
The painting is sensationally good.
Yeah.
That's always the thing with a scratch build. It's so many different bits that then become one thing whenever you get a solid color on them.
Yeah.
Join the wire.
That's got the right number of A's in it. That's the right way. Yeah. So
that's
that. Bad year. Very good.
Yeah.
Which was I'm pretty sure it was a GW joke back in the day.
Would make sense.
That they had in, I want to say, Warg the Orcs. I don't think it was Here We Go. Here We Go was, what was this? Was the Mercenaries. So I think it was in Warg. But anyway, regardless, it's just absolutely fantastic.
Really is.
Very, very well earned, that one.
A lot of nice dags.
So, yes.
Right.
As I say, well done to the runners up there, Sparkle Fly and Caesar, but congratulations to Shin and Tai for being the winner of that. After quite a few months of waiting.
Yes.
You got yourself a win. Well done.
Congratulations.
Worth it and very worthy.
Yes. Now, we must away with you, Justin, for we have to bring Warren back. We have a couple of very important awards to hand out before we finish the show. So, get ye gone. All right then, Ben. So, we're coming near the end of the show, and we're up to the fun ones. I mean, the others are fun.
The others were sort of okay.
They're grand, they're good, but these are important ones.
Yes,
these are ones where we elevate the exciting and new,
and illuminate,
shine lights in the dark corners of people's souls.
Yes.
And this is always a good one, and always a tricky one, because it requires us to find new and exciting people, Ben.
It does, yeah. So this is the neophyte of the year. So this was a new community member who was joined the site in the year of our Lord, by which I mean Odin, of course, 2025. And this one goes to a community member who has been very engaged in all aspects of our community, been taking part in the forums, the projects, the paint competition that we run in the threads and things like that, Discord, all sorts of different things. And this is Lazagram. Ooh,
yay! Congratulations!
Yes. So Lazagram has been with us this year, as I say, and has been popping up absolutely all over the place. So been getting involved in all of the comments underneath videos, sharing their opinions on all sorts of things. Most importantly, being excited about stuff, which is always good. I very much enjoy it when someone is sort of, affirmative about things. It's always great. And then, of course, has been designing all of their own projects and making use of that too. This was a really great one, which is all about designing a lovely display case.
Very nice.
The Dark Angels, which is just amazing. And has really been putting the effort into sort of like filling things out in lots of detail as well, which I thought is always quite nice. Because you can get, obviously, over the years, some of us old hands in the project system just drop a couple of pictures in and a line of text and go, there you go, have a look at it now. Whereas those young bucks, those people joining in for the first time, are so enthusiastic and they fill things with all sorts of descriptions and wonderful things. And so it's been really nice to see what love
just how it should be.
Just how it should be. Keep
Every
doing
member
it.
should be in them projects, hitting all of them little like buttons and stuff like that all over the place, giving as much XP out as they can.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, so I've been working on things like the Dark Angel project that you can see there, which is incredibly in depth. I loved the sort of work on the stained glass windows and things in the back of it. That was really cool. And it's something that I think a lot of us maybe fall down a little bit when it comes to our miniatures. You know, you talk about at the start of the show, Warren was talking about being sort of proud of showing off what we've done. I think this is a really nice epitome of that. That idea of like, maybe don't just paint your stuff and then put it away in a box again. Make something nice for it to sit on a shelf, you know, to fit into a Kallax, perhaps.
That's where I've been for the last. I've been moving that way for over the last couple of years. Where, I don't get gaming as much. You know, my days and my mind are filled, and it's difficult to do it. But I really love displaying stuff, and and you know why? This is I'm gonna drop myself in it here, but it's like playing with shit, you know? I can't leave my displays alone. I love to go up and just move things around.
If you're not making silly noises about things, then are you really having fun? So,
but it is, you know, if somebody walks in, I can get all adult, like, I'm just adjusting the display, you know,
for realism purposes, right? Yeah.
But it's wonderful. You know, the thing about displaying stuff is you get to look at it. And I display stuff as just Zenith Gray, but I display it as a reminder to myself that someday I need to get it painted. Okay.
Good luck, Skipper.
But I have a trick. Okay. If any of you guys are into lights, I've been into lights since I was a little tiny boy. My dad took me to Blackpool Illuminations. Boom. That was me forever loving lights.
Literal shiny.
Oh, God. Worst ever. But LEDs, little LEDs. You can start with little battery-powered ones, and you can get little gel filters and stuff like that to color them and stuff like that there. Even your gray stuff starts to look cool when there's colored lights going on, boys.
It's effectively coloring it from afar. So
it is. And it's a really interesting thing because you can change the dynamic of a display as well. What he's done here is, I love that metallic work.
Yes.
He works super well with that. I do castle-y kind of stuff, and I kind of leave it in the gray tones and stuff, and then use lights to change the effect. And it's so much easier than taking out a paintbrush. Yeah.
I just like the idea of you getting one of your kids to hold a colored light over a unit on the table. And then every time you move, they have to move with.
Move the light.
The Blood Angels have suddenly become Black Templars. Where's my red gone?
Yeah, displaying. Look, I think, you know, look, we all go through phases. Apparently, we're juveniles until we're 30 in the brain. Okay?
Yes. Yeah.
Some of us, I think that maybe
Longer.
just extends a bit further.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know, we all go through that phase where you're thinking that our hobby is all about gaming, it's all about getting games in and stuff like that. And to a degree, it absolutely is. But if you've reached the stage, and you can go in and out of these stages, if you've reached the stage where that's just not happening for you, display the bad boys. Make some displays. Enjoy it. Immerse yourself in it and just love it up, man. Just love it up. It's totally worth it. It is totally worth it.
Yeah. This was the other element that I was talking about recently. We've started a sort of monthly, very casual sort of painting competition in the forums where people can go and they get like a keyword. And when they dive into the forums, you just have to paint something up to fit that. And then the community votes on who's the winner. And then they choose the theme for the next one. Well, Lazogram got really involved in that, and so started off doing the terrain, as you saw there. Has been working on things like all the other bits and spooky horror stuff that came in sort of October, and then Magical Explosions was November, and so they went and painted some bits like this. And I think what's quite nice about the painting competition as a whole is that it's great for kind of like picking something out of your collection that you've maybe not worked on and just actually getting it painted, which is always good. But it was always nice to see Lazargam getting stuck in and doing some fun bits and pieces for this. And hopefully they'll be working on some December projects as well, as we sort of are in this month, of course. So we really.
I had a moment to go through the running order of this bit, and Andrea happened to be standing over my shoulder, and she noticed that he had done one called November.
Yes, I love this.
And Andrea looked at this and said, "Oh, did you get involved in that one?" Now, I would like to think that that's because Andrea thinks I'm some sort of mega knob or whatever, but no, it's because she thinks I'm a knob. Full stop. So that was her way of getting the boot in, and just reminded me that I am a knob. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for that. I love your logo, by the way. The November.
It's great. Well, not content on October being a thing, November is obviously the way to go. A lot of people going down the Gnome-Vember route, of course, but what really matters is knobs. So having them in there was great, and it's been really nice seeing what Lazargam's been working on, getting all those orcs and grots and everything painted up for that as well. So yes, a thoroughly great new community member for this year. Lazargam, thank you for joining the community. Thank you for getting involved in, as I said, things like the forum, the projects, the painting competition, going over on Discord and social media and all that kind of thing as well. And can't wait to see what you do in 2026. Yeah, it's going to be cool.
Yeah. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah.
It's not just about doing a load of projects. It's about getting involved in the community.
Yes.
Yeah. Which brings us neatly to the Andy Zek Memorial Award, which really is about a community member who's just always there. There for the other community members, there for the fun and games that we can have in whatever way, shape, or form it may be, whether it's just chatting away in the Discord, or maybe giving people advice, or, doing an embarrassing amount of stuff on a regular basis, just like Andy would have done. And this year, it's somebody who needs it more than most, because like me, he's a Liverpool fan, and we've been going through a really rough patch recently. And therefore, while we're still in a bit of a slump that hopefully we're going to come out of, I think we should cheer everybody up by giving the delightful Ewok Kebab our Andy Zek Memorial Award. God bless him, and all who sail him. And Ewok is always there, like Lazargram, but with a bit more pedigree behind him. He's had a chance to build up a head of steam. But he's one of these people who is very encouraging about people's work, which is great. But also he's willing to dive in and try things, be it new genres, new models, painting styles, whatever happens to be. Off to the club with a game, he will bring everything needed for everyone at the club to play that game, like his Gaslands, for example. So
an anchor of stability.
He is definitely an anchor. W may vary. And if we have a look, I mean, these are just his completed projects, containing things like the dairy ingesting capitulation simians, or the Ewoks Gone Wild West, the Gaslands that we mentioned, Void Fighter. Void Fighter's exciting and new. Before the game had even come out, he'd already got his hands on a ton of fighters and had painted them all up so that he'd be able to run games in a double quick fashion, which is always good. Likewise with the Gaslands, it's how quickly can I put multiple things together so that when I bring them round to my mates or down to the club, we can play all the games. He may have went a little bit radio rental on the amount of dice. I mean, I think he is planning on teaching everybody in his whole town. I can't imagine that's required even for one club. But, he gets in there and he's always churning out a load of stuff, desperately trying to put the shame on the rest of us, I think. Sorry, I mean, encourage the rest of us through his productivity, which is good. But he also does it with a sense of humor that I really enjoy because it's very similar to my own. One side can't hit anything. One side can't survive anything. What happens if you get in a fight? And therefore, we end up with Stormtroopers versus Redcoats, an online meme manifested
amazing
into this absolute batshittery on board Starship Vengeance. Just, but it's this joie de vivre he has for taking concepts and actually executing them. And he'll say himself, he's not the best painter in the world, but he's a solid painter and he paints continuously.
He gets things done.
Yeah. And you don't need to be doing 15 levels of highlighting and wet blending and ... Nope. If you've, because solid paint job beats no paint job at all, regardless of colored lights, Warren. So you're able to get things like the red coats, or you're able to get things like his World War I French. And
that he rescued from Vinted as well, though.
Yeah. Right? Oh, he is also responsible for the fact that I now know that Vinted is a thing that does more than clothes, and B, quite a lot of people sell stuff cheap on it, because eBay has become a nightmare for buying secondhand goods.
Yes.
Everybody seems to think if they've got a splatter of color on it, it's pro-painted.
Yes.
So one night Ewok mentioned in the hobby hangout that Vinted is a thing, and the next thing I knew, I was staring down the barrel of triple digits of Tiny Fighting Men's. But apart from all of that, he's just like a really nice chap, an exceptionally nice guy, playing the multi-award winning Moonstone, or getting everybody encouraged and on board for new games, or if push comes to shove, telling Lloyd that if he's not going to build room for me, then he'll have to go ahead and just do it himself.
Yes.
Which, I mean, is all well and good, but it doesn't help me because that's not my stuff, Ewok. You need to, you've got your own now. I've still got none. So, yes, it's throwing shade at Lloyd, but at the end of the day, can we not look at the real victim in all of this?
I think what's really nice about what Ewok does is something we've kind of mentioned, but it's the fact that as long as it's done, that's fine. If it's done and you're using it to play some games and it makes your tables look good, that's great. That's all you need to do. You can always revisit projects. You can always come back and make them better if you want to. But as long as the terrain is painted, your models are painted, it's all down on the tabletop. If that's what you're aiming for and you want to play some games with it, go for it.
What connects him to Andy, though, it's a few years now since Andy passed. And for any community members that didn't know him, it's probably just enough to say he was a great dude. He was a really good dude. And what connects Ewok and previous winners of this award is that they share, they support. And those three things are really what encapsulated what Andy would have done. When we had boot camps, Andy was always there, pretty much first one to sign up, was always uploading, was always painting, and was always willing to help community members
share ideas and all sorts of things.
Ideas and the likes. And they were big shoes to fill, but our previous winners and Ewok Kebab, they more than fill them. And it's we can't state enough how much we appreciate the winner every year of this particular award, because it reminds us of what's important. It reminds us that individual community members can make such a difference day to day, to what we do. So it's Ewok Kebab is just a fountain of awesomeness when it comes to the hobby. And I love what he's done. I'm crushed for you, Jerry. I am feeling it, man. I'm feeling it. It's this lack of room in your life, my man. It's
they tell me all roads lead there, but this I find is just a bitter pill to swallow.
But congratulations, Ewok Kebab.
Yes.
It's well earned, mate. Well earned.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that wraps us up for the 9 community members However, we do have a 10th award. And in many respects, it's one of the most important awards we've ever had and ever will have.
Yes.
The spiritual leader of our great cult of games. We did, for many years, have the delightful Sean Connery as the Cult of Games Grandmaster. Many people will remember any time we were in a hole because Ben was unable to make it to a weekender or an XLBS, then Sean would briefly step in, mounted on his owlbear in his Zardos Mankini, and would do a terrific job in holding the screen's attention.
Yes.
Unfortunately, when he passed, we had to find a new Grandmaster. And over the past few years, we have had several.
And for every one of them, we hook that Mankini out of the bin. And we send it to them. And here they are.
These are our Grandmasters as of now. You know,
this is a live picture of one of the OTT studio walls.
Yeah. Whether they like it or not, we have to stress that.
Thing. They get no choice. They are our Grandmaster.
Yes. Yeah.
Whether they like it or not.
Yes,
that's it. Yeah.
So, obviously, in the past, as you say, we've had Sean Connery, we've had Boris Wallazin, we've had Chris Caesar, and of course, James Hewitt.
James M. Hewitt.
James M. Hewitt, sorry.
He demands to be called.
As he demands, especially now. Was last year's. But it's time for the fairs to be moved on. And it moves to a new person. Drum roll, all sorts of things. Probably there's effects in the background, who knows?
I imagine there's explosions.
There's explosions, all sorts of different things, yeah. Haunting music.
Our editing team. It's going to be incredible.
It's going to be amazing.
I cannot wait.
So, our new Grandmaster of the Cult of Games, whether they like it or not, is Mr. Alex Huntley. Oh, so yes.
Thunderous applause.
Thunderous applause, explosions, all sorts of different things. So, for those who don't know, why wouldn't you? Alex Huntley, as well as being one of the most marvelously handsome men in the wargaming world, is also the creator of Warp Miniatures, which has been a staple within the industry since 2010. Just to give you a little bit of background on Alex and his project. It started, as I say, back in 2010 in a place called, and this is very good, Wet Wang. Which is a real place in England, lol.
Is it really?
Yes.
There is a place called Wet Wang.
There is a place called Wet Wang, yes.
That's amazing. I live near a place called Ring Rash.
There we go. Maybe it's twinned. Who knows? And this is actually a sort of family affair, War Miniature. So Alex does all of the sculpting and the design, did a lot of things traditionally, but also works with ZBrush and does things digitally as well. Rob, his father, does all the casting. Dawn, his mother, does all the packaging and shipping of the miniatures. And then Wing Shan, who's his wife, helps with the creative side of things and event planning and all that kind of stuff, and also has her own business and that kind of thing too. But they now all work together to create possibly one of the coolest ranges of miniatures, I think, in the world right now. And the thing that I really like about it is that I think Alex, alongside a bunch of people like Sean Sutter and Malav the Shinobi and Joseph McCullough and this kind of thing, they're really driving a kind of new wave of miniature wargaming love. They're embracing lots of different technologies. They're playing around with traditional stuff, but also playing around in the digital world at the same time. But more importantly, creating miniatures that feel like they are absolutely suffused with love and like creativity and interesting. They're not just sort of your bog standard space soldiers and all that kind of stuff. Literally everything that Alex sculpts has this weird, quirky, cartoony character to it. And it's very much this vibe of sort of just have fun with your minis that I really like. And this follows through into literally everything else that Alex does with Warp and beyond it. Because even the game is kind of like a collaborative, creative affair. It's very quick and easy to play. And in many different ways. He's kind of like a Renaissance man. He sculpts the minis, he paints the minis, he writes the rules, he sings the theme tune, all the kind of thing. He does the videos. And it's, as I say,
and the man has arms that I just want wrapped around me, man.
I know, they are guns and a half.
How does he even hold a mini without disintegrating it in his hand?
Oh no, I've destroyed my creation. But yeah, everything that Alex seems to have touched has sort of turned into something awesome, and people are really, really enjoying it. And this doesn't just apply to the game side of things. Another really great element of what Warp does and what Alex has done with Warp is there's a really strong focus on community. So he actually runs like a weekender every year called the Arc World Weekender, where you can go over and you just sit down and you paint models, you can play games, all sorts of different things like that, get really creative with it all. As you can see, he's done loads of videos and all that kind of thing to get people involved with it. He's done loads and loads of Kickstarter campaigns where you can dive in and get stuck in and sort of pick up loads of his creations. Recently, also, as well, opened a store in Nottingham. So there's a Warp Miniatures store in the Sneaton Market, which is cool, yeah. Which is awesome. It had the opening in sort of like the end of November.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is really good.
Nice.
I could have gone, but I was playing Lord of the Rings. Oh, well. But yeah. So it's very much been a great journey for Alex, I think, and Warp Miniatures over the year. And as I say, one of the things we really like about OnTableTop is the community side of things and that kind of creative fun. And I think, as it stands, Alex Huntley sort of embodies all of that in everything that he's been working on. And he doesn't just use his skills for his own games. He's also worked with other companies to sort of bring his creativity to their projects as well. So he's done stuff with Wing Shan, his wife, where they created their Siren's Oath game, which was a role-playing game. So he sculpted some of the miniatures for that project, which was really cool. Also worked alongside a bunch of indie creators. So worked with the sort of the Rebel Trash Kickstarter that was up earlier in the year, which is creating some really fun little pig miniatures for that, which was really cool. So you could use them in a little fun little indie project, which was nice. And then has also been doing things like Gummy Quest, where he helped sculpt Arc World-esque miniatures that were then turned into gummies, which I thought was really cool. So, you know, it's sort of...
Sure, why not?
Why not, eh? And alongside all of that, you've also got all of the Patreon stuff that he's been doing with 3D printing and my mini factory and that kind of thing as well, with the digital workshop. So you can get involved and pick up loads and loads of different miniatures from that, which can all then be used in things like one-page rules. A lot of people use it for those games, alongside all sorts of different things as well. And again, I think it's just the enthusiasm, the creativity, and the willingness to be involved in the wider world of wargaming and sort of elevating it to that next level that I think means that Alex gets to be the next Grandmaster of the Cult of Games. It also helps that he's quite sexy. So
is our leader.
Yeah.
And we are easily led.
Very, very true. And we've now got the trifecta. We've had a sculptor.
Yes.
We've had a games designer.
Yes.
Now we have 2 in 1.
Yes. Yeah.
He's the wash and go
The
of
head
Cult of
and
Games.
shoulders of our industry. That's amazing. Well, it's a head, shoulders, and arms, really, isn't he?
Mostly arms.
So,
he is hench, as I believe the kids say.
it's going to be really weird having a pin-up for our Grandmaster. You know, it's like I'm when just partners walk into the studio and they see this amazing picture of him, they're going to be like,
Yeah.
Just in the fez.
Yeah. Fez, Mankini if we're kind and we can find it in the bin.
Yep.
And
So there you go, folks. Our new Cult of Games Grandmaster for 2026, Alex Huntley. And it'll be great to see what Alex comes up with. Now that he is our Cult Grandmaster, I imagine otters will feature immensely in the upcoming Warp games. Because it's only right and proper.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that's us for another year.
Yeah. Wow.
It's been an absolute pleasure to lead you on this merry voyage through a year's worth of golden buttons and worthwhile winners across all of those categories. It's been fantastic spending the time with you gentlemen as well over the last year, be it gaming, talking about gaming, or talking about games that we're not playing, which is sometimes just as important. Sometimes the games you don't play are the important ones along the way.
Yeah.
We will see you in the comments. We will see you in 2026 for more of the same.
Mm-hmm.
And enjoy the rest of your year. Bye-bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.